Welcome friends to another Halo Lore video. Today we look at one of my favourite factions within the Covenant, the Sangheili. They are a clash in terms of their culture, which comes from two different sides. One half has warrior traditions, the other an attempt to improve their way of life through the use of technology, and feeding into that is their fascination with Forerunner relics. Before the Covenant, the Hunters or Sangheili had been able to already colonise dozens of planets. After they met the Sangheili, there was a long war between both factions until a truce was established. And this was the moment that led to the foundation, the moment that led to the creation of the Covenant. When the Covenant encountered humanity, the Sangheili were at the forefront of fighting these people. But the Sangheili were ultimately betrayed by the Sangheili, which led to the Great Schism. This was a civil war between factions within the Covenant. After this, the Sangheili didn't come together. They fractured into smaller and smaller splinter factions, all fighting against each other. At the heart of the Sangheili lies three principles: honour, nobility and power. And all these splinter factions I mentioned a moment ago were together because they had a shared belief in the divinity of the Forerunners. So when they joined the Covenant, this didn't interfere with their existing beliefs. They also had a single language and social identity. So they've been very stable. There will be disputes, of course. There will be disagreements, but of course these were decided through combat. So this simple approach means you think of them in a certain way, but they also have intellect and resourcefulness. The children of the Sangheili are given birth to by the females who lay eggs. Once the eggs are within nesting tanks, these young Sangheili, their incubation and hatching period are monitored by the tanks. The social structure of the Sangheili is made up of families or clans. Now the specific terminology that they use is keeps. And what you'll get is many allied clans been led by a single leader, a Kadon, who has a power base, like a castle in our world. It's a fortified keep, so they control the surrounding territory. If it's just a small colony, just a small number of keeps can govern the resources of all the Sangheili on the planet. On bigger worlds, such as Sanghelios, many keeps vie for power and the influence that comes with that, through both political means and military. Since the fall of the Covenant, these keeps, in many cases, have come together to form ambitious military sects, and they are warring against each other in a vicious struggle for power. Sangheili colonisation of the stars began over 2,000 years before humanity left their own cradle world, and it was fueled by hunger for territory, clan competition and tantalising clues found amongst foreign artefacts. Now before the Covenant was formed, it was blood and belief that bound those worlds. There was no centralised administration or government, but it held the groups together. And so with that in place, many of the groups shared a goal of stellar exploration. This changed little under the Covenant. With their collapse, there was hopes of new Sangheili unity. But this was held back by resource shortfalls and because of the hardening of doctrine by certain groups who still held to the way of the Covenant. And so many Sangheili colonies have been devastated by attacks. With the collapse of the tithe system, taking a certain number of soldiers from certain places, the colonies are not able to support their populations. Perhaps there's not many people coming in to those worlds in terms of money without the tithe system. I don't know if they were paid, perhaps. Following the created conflict and amid the steady rise of banished influence, these worlds are struggling to regroup and seek direction from Sanghelios on a path forward. So, looking at the military aspect of the Sangheili, a male was raised from childhood to take up military service. The identity of their father, their biological one, was held back, so that they would not be held back by the legacy of their forebearer, but would raise up themselves and the entire keep, each fighting to prove their own worth. They were trained in things like hand-to-hand combat and the uses of all types of weaponry. Now, to advance through the ranks within the military, it was measured by the number of kills you had. Those who reached the highest levels could have thousands. It was an effective method in getting those seasoned veteran warriors into the points of leadership, but it also created openings in the command structure with that promotion that they had, leaving room for others to rise up, others with potential. And it wasn't the alliance with the Sangheili that brought these things into the Sangheili, they were there already, but the Covenant allowed a way for these elements of their culture to be maintained. In terms of their armour, as the Halo Encyclopedia tells us, Sangheili used extremely advanced and refined battle harnesses with construction steeped in the rich traditions of their past and blessed by the Sangheili for sacred use in pursuit of the great journey. They would have energy shielding systems. Within the armour there would be dummy modules and terminator plugs that would augment the abilities of the Sangheili. And there would also be cosmetic changes of the armour between different types of fleets, and it would be based on the ministry they served, or something they'd been given like a rank upon commission. So you get many different varieties. With any fleet there would be a key religious figure, who would be a guide, a major domo, or even a supreme commander who sought to display his piety. And so the Sangheili battle armour would evoke honour, devotion and zeal, even if it made the armour uncomfortable to wear. If the fleet was on an invasion footing, it would have a more practical effect on the armour worn. Cosmetic things would be removed so that it was just a plain, basic armour to maximise its effectiveness. And the armour worn by those people signalled the end of a world, as the Sangheili descended to annihilate the civilization below them, and to seize foreigner treasures that might be down there as well. After the fall of the Covenant, many Sangheili desired to reclaim the heritage they had lost to the Sangheili upon formation of the alliance with them, rekindling old war factories and dusting off design templates long since abandoned, so that they have found within their freedom some of their earlier identity. In large aspects, they never lost it. And that, friends, is where I'll end today's video about the Sangheili. They are my favourite faction, so there'll be lots more on this group in the future.